I am really happy today to welcome to the show Drew Larner. He is the CEO of Rdio, and it's a pleasure to have you on. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
Rdio launched in the US and Canada in August 2010, and you offer a streaming music service. But could you briefly outline sort of what the company provides, what the service is for listeners outside of the US that might not be familiar with the service yet?
Sure. We are an on-demand, unlimited music subscription service, which means that you can listen to basically any track, anywhere, anytime, on multiple devices, wherever you are. Whether you're offline or whether you're online, we provide you with basically the world of music at your fingertips.
The obligatory question is when you talk about Rdio is that a lot of people, when it came out on the media, said, Rdio beat Spotify to the US market. But the truth is that there is quite a bit of competition already in the States in terms of subscription services going from Rhapsody to MOG and to even different business models with Pandora, for example. So what sets you guys apart from other services?
I feel like our primary differentiating factor is related to social, and I acknowledge that social is an overused word, especially these days, given what's going on in the internet. But when we built the service, the core focus was built around what we call social discovery and the idea of discovering music through people, because we feel that music is such an intrinsically social thing, and the way really we believe that people want to discover music and have always discovered music is from other people. Whether it's that friend that you had who goes out and sees every new band, or someone who's just on top of the new releases, there's always people out there that you look to find out what's interesting, what's new, what's hip, and we believe we brought that dynamic to the web in a very unique and powerful way, different to what anyone else has done.
One of the things that's really important, aside from the bringing actually the content in, which is already incredibly hard, is also getting people to discover the content that is on the site, and that's one of the hardest parts for subscription services like yourselves. So the social part kind of offers for you a solution to that problem, doesn't it?
I believe it does. I mean, and you make a very good point, because all of these services, and there are competitors out there in this market and other markets, all have enormous libraries. We're at upwards of 8 million tracks, and it is very challenging when you come and you're faced, as opposed to going to, a situation where you're going to download a particular album and you know what you want. When everything is available to you and always available to you, it can be kind of daunting.
Yeah.
And we feel like with what we've done with this idea of social discovery and following people, it's kind of taken the challenge or the problem of what to play next. We've addressed that really well, because most of the other services are really search and play. You need to know what you want to listen to, and you can kind of come back to the service every day and it looks the same. Whereas with Rdio, you come back to the service, every hour and it looks different, because you're tuned into this continually updated stream of information, sort of like Twitter meets music, where you're constantly seeing what people are doing on a real-time basis, and we feel that's really a unique and powerful tool.
Yeah, and one analogy I thought about was the idea of a flipboard for music, in the sense that it's something that really taps into the social feed of what your friends are doing, what they're listening to. In that sense, how do you construct that social feed? Is it from other Rdio users, or do you pull data from other services as well?
It's from other Rdio users solely, but the users, it's not necessarily people. You don't have to know people. At the moment, it's all open. So I'm following Joe. I could be following you. I could be following, my brother, but I'm also following, Fader Magazine or KCRW Radio, which is a very, interesting radio station in LA, an NPR affiliate in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
You can create this ecosystem of people and groups, and, we have entertainers on there and musicians. And as I said, it just creates this really powerful feed of information. That is always updating and always new.
And one of the most important aspects of Rdio as a service is that you forewent the free side that a lot of these services are providing, and you actually provide a free trial, but it's all subscription based. And what led you to this decision, and how do you think the public is reacting to the idea of not having the freemium side of the service?
When we started the company and we were working on building the product and getting our deals done, we were very we spent a lot of time analyzing different models, and we came to the conclusion that freemium, at least how it had been done to date, was not a sustainable business model that I certainly, as the CEO of the company, could support with the board and the investors.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get people in the door. People love free music. People love free anything. But in terms of sustaining this business and creating a model that ultimately is successful from a financial standpoint, I didn't feel like creating a freemium model that's advertiser supported, that tries to drive people to subscribe would it's just the content costs are too high.
Yeah.
And I'm not by that I don't mean that I think they should be lower. It's just content is valuable.
Yeah,
and
sure.
and providing tons of free music to everyone, I don't think is the solution to building a sustainable business in this space.
And do you believe that this week's announcement that was picked up, everywhere by the media, of Spotify having to cut back the amount of free music that they give to their advertising-based audience is kind of a sign that this is what's coming? That the free model is not sustainable anymore. Look,
I try not to comment on other people's businesses,
Sure.
and they've done a great job in building an enormous user base and a big company and a successful service. But I think one could reach that conclusion, certainly, that the sustainability of doing what has been done to date with the amount of free that's been offered is just not something that can continue.
Yeah. Sure. And in terms of talking about streaming and cloud services, there are a number of lockers being launched at the moment. Amazon did theirs. There's rumors that Apple might launch theirs as well. But do you believe that the idea of a locker and of actually people transferring physically the music that they have from the hard drive onto the cloud is something that isn't sustainable? Or do you think that in the end, it's all going to come down to a pure streaming service like the one you have?
I think time will tell. Obviously, sustainable, those companies certainly have the resources to sustain whatever they want.
Yeah.
But in terms of, will users adopt it? As I said, I think time will tell. I think, we certainly believe that a service like ours, which is obviously has much more functionality, is much more robust, is much more engaging, is something that users will flock to. But again, that's my opinion. That's why we're focused on that. We did not choose a locker service to pursue. So we obviously believe in the full subscription, full experience type of model.
Definitely. And in the sense of the Apple announcements regarding subscriptions, Apple is gonna apparently start making it compulsory for companies like yourselves, the subscription companies, to allow users to actually subscribe from within the app, which would allow Apple to take 30% of that charge. So is that something that is worrying you at the moment? Do you think that Apple is going to go ahead with it?
I've spoken about this publicly before. At that rate, it makes it very challenging for us from an economic standpoint to remain in that environment.
Yeah.
And we're analyzing our options. I don't know. I hear lots of rumor about what they're considering and whether they're going to implement it. I read what you read, so I don't have anything inside specific to add. Only that yes, it is a problem for us without question. But I would also say. And this has been borne out by the stats that have been released in the last month. Apple's not the be all end all as far as platforms. You look at where Android is going. We've had a lot of uptake on the Android platform. We've built a great Android app. So it doesn't mean that the business is over, but for that particular platform, that fee structure, yes, is problematic for us.
How the company is running at the moment. When you first launched last year, there was a lot of talk about the services founders and Janus Friis and Niklas Stenström, who also started Kazaa and Skype. Are they still really involved in the day-to-day running of the company, or have they kind of stepped back from the day-to-day operations?
They were never involved in the day-to-day operations in terms of they never had executive roles in the company, but obviously they were the founders. The original investors, and they are very involved. This is not a passive investment for them.
Yeah.
I've worked with them for many years now. I've worked with them since 2003, so I've known them for a while. The rest of the executive team, two of our other senior executives came from Skype, Carter Adamson and Malta Sigurdsson. So, they've known Nicholas and Giannis for a great deal of time. And so there's a relationship there that's pre-existing. And as a result, there's a real, the communication is constantly open. And we all talk to them frequently. So, yes, they're very involved. And it's great because to get the benefit of, their experience and their vision and their direction, and you couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah.
It's a great dynamic.
And licensing is certainly, an important issue for you guys. Your business model was pretty straightforward, and the fact that you didn't have a free service meant that you probably had a slightly easier ride to actually obtain the licenses for the US than some other services, possibly. But in terms of the international expansion and the way independent labels can perceive your service, do you feel that it's going to be an attainable thing to actually expand internationally in a fairly quick way?
I do. I mean, we have designs on being a global service. Obviously, given the experience with Skype, which is a global, worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
We believe that we can attain, that shooting for that is obviously, not realistic given the size of that user base. But we do have designs on being a global service, and the rights on the record side is not really an issue. We've licensed rights for, international as well. The challenge on the rights side, and it's not insurmountable, it's just time consuming, is kind of winding your way through the maze of the various publishing entities that need to be licensed, or that we need to get licenses from in the various territories, which we're in the process of doing. It's just time consuming. But the deals are there to be made. And we intend to make them and launch. I don't have anything to share, exact in terms of dates, but our intention is to be, available in South America and Asia and Europe.
Yeah. And you mentioned South America and Asia, that there's a lot of the services that are launching right now are concentrating in Europe and North America, but do you see like a big growth market in those other territories that are maybe less explored?
I do. I think, again, every territory is different. Different territories within Asia, different connectivity, different desire to pay. But I know this sounds a little, I don't want to say trite, but everybody loves music, and I think if you deliver them a great product that's easy to use, that they can take anywhere with them, that has great mobile functionality, I think I don't see why the desire to pay a couple of bucks is not going to be there on a global basis.
Yeah. Looking at the future of this field, do you think that the simplicity of a service like yours that just works may have an advantage over other services that are maybe launched by bigger companies in the future, but that may have a lot of caveats and different tiers and, make it more confusing for the user to actually access to the music? Do you think that you have an advantage in the sense that, that's the fee, you get access to everything, and, that's the deal, basically?
I do. I mean, it's a relatively simple proposition, but I would, I have to acknowledge that part of our challenge right now is user education.
Yeah.
Because most people have not experienced this type of service before. And so it's not an easy elevator pitch in 3 or, a couple of sentences. You have to kind of explain it and then get people to try it. And once they try it, they're off to the races, and it's they're like, I don't know how I live without this.
Yeah.
But it's not something that is at least right now commonly understood. But I do believe that subscription music's been around for a long time, and it hasn't really taken off. But I do believe that we are at a point where we're close to reaching that tipping point where people all of a sudden just get it, and then the adoption rates will skyrocket.
Yeah, and another way in which you're planning to increase your base is also the fact that you opened up your platform to APIs for outside developers, which is a really interesting strategy. And you've also launched, alongside that, a way for developers to actually get a small revenue share for the users that they sign up through the service they create via the API, which is a really interesting new approach to adding user base and maybe providing a functionality that you yourselves might not think is particularly interesting, or you yourself might not have the resources to actually create, but that a third-party developer might think, oh, this is great, I think users are really going to like this.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It was something that, our guys have been working on, long and hard. And, since we launched the API at South by Southwest, we've gotten great feedback. And you're right, stuff that people are coming up with, we either didn't think about or didn't have time to get to. And we're seeing all this really cool, innovative uses of the API. And we're really excited of, what's going to come from, all these developers kind of taking it to another level. It's been really great.
And finally, to talk about the future of Rdio, we talked about international expansion. Mobile access, naturally, is a paramount feature for the company. And is there any particular feature that you would like Rdio to have, or that you are developing, that you can talk about?
We have a lot on the roadmap, as you can imagine, and there's lots of healthy debate internally of what we should work on first.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily features, but the big agenda, and again, this is not unique because other companies are pursuing the same thing, is pursuing partnerships. And so we're spending a lot of time at the moment working on various partnerships with big distribution companies, whether it be mobile providers or handset manufacturers or ISPs, to really get the service out to a wide number of people.
Sure.
So a lot of time is being spent on that. We obviously will continue to increase the number of platforms that we're on. I mean, we're currently on, Apple, Android, BlackBerry, Windows 7, but there's more platforms out there, and we want to be we're on Sonos and Roku as well.
Yeah.
But we want to be as widely distributed and as widely available as possible. On the feature side, I could get you on the phone with Malta, who's probably better suited to speak to that.
Yeah.
But there's umpteen amount of things that we'd like to do. It's just finding the time and prioritizing what needs to come first in the queue.
Well, it was absolutely great talking to you, and I really look forward to trying out Rdio properly when it will launch in the UK.